educated, intelligent voters. So we're going to start with the mayor's race. There are originally 8 candidates, but we will not be hearing from all of them. The candidates for mayor are G.T. Bynum, Craig Emmel, Ken Reddick, Gregory C. Robinson II, Paul Tay, Ty Walker, and Zachary Leon Whitlow. The first candidate that I would like to have speak to us today is Craig Emmel. So if we could get Craig up on the screen so that he may speak to everyone, I'd certainly appreciate that.
How are we doing, everyone? Am I good to go?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Well, thank you all for convening this forum. This is actually the first one that I've participated in so far for this campaign, and so I'm really happy to be here. Your email suggested we just give a quick presentation on who we are and why we're running. Is that where you'd like us to start? Okay. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Craig Emmel. I'm running for mayor of Tulsa, obviously. A little bit about my background. I was raised in the Tulsa area, although I was born in Fayetteville and moved over to Tulsa when I was about 6, and then lived in Sand Springs from about 5th grade through high school graduation. And then at that point, I stayed at home for another year and went to school at Tulsa Junior College and moved on to Oklahoma State and Stillwater after my first year. Ended up earning a geography degree at Oklahoma State, and pretty quickly after that I moved to Colorado, took my first kind of grown-up job up there, and then also lived in the mountains and did some work in outdoor recreation, and then also kind of got into real estate business and home building up there as well. And after a few years went by, I decided to attend graduate school and moved down to Denver, where I attended the University of Denver and earned a master's in real estate and construction management. Primary reason I chose that industry was, one, I like building things, and it's a very entrepreneurial type of business. A lot of opportunities to build really cool stuff, and just to also leave a lasting mark on the built environment. And so hopefully you do it right. But also, I was and remain very interested in sustainability, and the construction industry, as a lot of you can imagine, is it's one of the largest industries in the world, first of all, but also it's one of the most consumptive of natural resources. It's also one of the bigger polluters. So I was fascinated by this idea of building the types of projects that we need for our economies to grow and for places for people to live and do business, but also trying to balance that with the kind of the real world limitations of trying to extract an endless amount of resources from a finite planet. So anyway, after that, I kind of, my career's been, continue to kind of evolve around that theme. But in the most recent years have been focused primarily on construction management and building parts and buildings, homes, all kinds of fun stuff like that. So leading up to why I decided to run, I've always been brought up with the mind that everyone in America should, one, at least vote I mean, that should go without saying, but unfortunately, as we all know, probably over a third of Americans don't vote. But also, I mean, I think for our democracy to function properly as it was designed, more people have to get involved in the process. And a big part of that is running for an office. So, like a lot of you, I'm sure you've heard a lot of people complain about government and us versus the government and things like that. But, you know, I see it fundamentally differently. I think a well-functioning government is basically made up.
You have 1 minute, Mr. Rimmel.
You got it. So anyway, in the course of being an advocate for green building and sustainability type initiatives, when I moved back to Tulsa about 10 or 12 years ago, I became in general advocacy around that, but then I also became involved in the Helmrich Park issue. And then also I watched with a lot of interest the teacher lockout a couple of years after that. And I felt like a lot of Tulsans' needs really weren't being represented, and a lot of their voices were being outright ignored. And to me, that was unacceptable. It's Craig and Move Tulsa Forward. Feel free to give me a call or text me, 918-978-8039. And then, of course, I've got Facebook. That's also Move Tulsa Forward, and Twitter is Move Tulsa Forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rimmel. It's so nice to hear from you. Our next speaker will be Ty Walker. So if we could get Mr. Walker up on screen, please.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Walker.
How you ladies doing and gentlemen doing tonight?
You will have 5 minutes to
5 minutes.
speak.
I'm a minister, so the clock starts now?
Yes, please.
Well, I'm Ty Walker, running for Tulsa City, Tulsa Mayor. I was born and raised here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Being a small business owner, family been in small business since 1974. We own Winter J's Restaurant. We're one of the 4 remaining businesses from the 70s out of the black community here in the city of Tulsa. And so we've been around since, like I say, since 1974. And I'm a, lifelong I'm a Navy veteran. Have a degree in hotel and restaurant management. I studied many different jobs, from construction to truck drivers to zero thermal. We raised hogs. I was a hog farmer until I was 21. So I'm just kind of old country boy, I guess, for say. And I decided to run for mayor for the simple reason that Tulsa has an opportunity to grow and come together as one. And out of all the candidates that's in the race, I'm the only one that's ever lived on both sides of the bridges, per se. There's no other candidate can say that they have the experience I have on both sides of the bridge. So that's why I decided to run, to bring Tulsa together. Not to build a bridge, because the bridge is already here. I'm the man to lead us on across the bridge. And so that's why I decided to run.
Would you give us your contact information, please?
My contact information is Ty Walker for Tulsa.
I've eaten at your restaurant, and it's wonderful home-style food.
Well, I said the only thing we serve is make sure your swimsuit stay on when you hit the water.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Those are the only 2 candidates who got back to us, so unless we have a representative from one of these candidates here who would speak on their behalf, then we'll move on to Council Member District 1. And the only candidate who got back to us was Jerry Goodwin. So, Mr. Goodwin, if you are up.
Yes, I am.
There we are. Wonderful. We're glad that you're here tonight, Mr. Goodwin. Let's go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for the opportunity to join you. And I want to extend my best wishes and good luck to everyone that is running for office. It is a daunting task, but I imagine we'll all be the better and the stronger for it in the weeks to come. Again, my name is Jerry Goodwin. I'm a candidate for City Council District 1. I'm currently a college professor at Tulsa Community College, and I've taught at the junior college level as well as the university level, courses in marketing, public relations, communications, and a variety of subjects at a variety of different institutions. My reason for running for city council was because I thought that there would be a better way, and there had to be a better route to getting things done in our community. And I guess I have been challenging the voters in my community to ask themselves, how are we 4 years later than we were 4 years ago? And I think it's very obvious that our community has not made the type of inroads and progress that we could have made if we had a plan. And I think for many of you, you're familiar with the biblical quote that people without a plan without a plan perish. And I think part of the problem in our community is that we've not had any direction. We've been a ship as law enforcement, economic development, and youth empowerment. With reference to law enforcement, I'm the only candidate in District 1 that has issued opinions on two most recent incidents that have occurred in our district. One involving the harassment and arrest of two teenagers who just happened to be walking down this street in North Tulsa. And the reason they were harassed and then arrested was because they were jaywalking. Well, I think each of you could, if you could picture in your mind walking down a street without sidewalks, the likelihood of you jaywalking is probably going to be very great. So these individuals were not in any way caught, or were they accused of doing anything that they should not have been doing. I'm the only candidate that has issued an opinion regarding that. The second being, as many of you know, an opinion issued by Major Travis Yates that thought statistically the Tulsa Police Department should be shooting more African Americans, statistically speaking, based on their research, rather than the numbers that they have, unfortunately, have had encounters within my community. I'm the only candidate that issued a statement regarding that. Unfortunately, our current city councilor has what I consider to be a conflict of interest. She can talk about water and sewer. She can talk about parks and recreation. She can talk about a variety of subjects that impact the city of Tulsa. But when it comes to law enforcement, she has to limit herself on what she can say and do, because the city attorney has issued an opinion that she has a conflict of interest because her husband happens to be a police officer. So as a result, you don't have the largest, or we're the only district that happens to have such a large amount of abandoned, unoccupied, and vacant real estate. And I suggest that we need to develop a plan as an incentive for business to come into our community, because right now there are no incentives for business to come into our community. Rather than telling such entities as Family Dollar and Dollar General what we don't want, what about us telling the community what we do want? And thirdly and lastly, youth empowerment. Because of COVID-19, it has unveiled a problem that we have within our community with a number of our young people not having access to the internet and computers. And so I would like to see what we can do to help enable our young people in the community to have a greater opportunity to be sure that when we do have these chances of being out of school, that they do have access to technology. And then I can elaborate further in later session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Did you give us your contact information?
Yes, ma'am. I can give that to you. Again, my name is Jerry Goodwin. You can reach me at jerry@electjerrygoodwin.com. And my campaign phone number is 918-289-9883, 918-289-9883. And I also have a campaign office, 102 North Greenwood in the Greenwood Business District. And anytime you may need to meet with me or would like to visit with me, feel free to call me and I'll be more than glad to make an appointment with you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goodwin. Mr. Goodwin is one of only two candidates in this race. His opponent is the incumbent Vanessa Hall Harper, who did not make arrangements to speak with us tonight. In Council District 2, no one contacted us.
Meeting already won.
Yes, that is correct. There was only one candidate there, so that's already been decided. Thank you, Joe. In Council District 3, we have 2 candidates, and the one who has contacted us is the incumbent, Krista Patrick. And Miss Patrick, if we could hear from you at this time, please.
Thank you so much for having me tonight. For anybody that doesn't know, my name is Krista Patrick. I've just been in my first term of office. I am a native Tulsan. I like to say that I am a District 3 success story, or specifically a Dawson success story. I was raised in the little community of Dawson that's north of Pine Street, just between Sheridan, Yale, Pine, and Apache. That square mile was a community known as Dawson, and then Tulsa annexed her in 1937. So my family has been there since 1950. Many of you know my uncle and my father who ran before. Both of them held the District 3 seat at different times. But I was born and bred in District 3. I grew up on my dad's salary of $250 a week with no health insurance, a private small business, family business. I was the valedictorian of Rogers High School in 1991 and worked my way through the University of Tulsa to get my Bachelor of Arts in theater. And then worked professionally in touring companies and area theaters for a long time. And then came back to Tulsa after just a couple of years being away to get a job at the University of Tulsa teaching, where I concurrently went and taught and got my MFA, which is the terminal degree for an artist in studio art. I never in a million years would have thought that I would be in public service, but when my dad was thinking of giving up his seat because he wanted to retire with my mom, he came to me and he said, I need you to do this. You are the voice that they need to hear from. They need somebody who is different, who is creative, who can think outside of the box, who can deal with any different person on the planet, with kindness, with dignity, and with respect. So after a lot of thought and a conversation with my daughter, who was 12 at the time, I decided to go ahead and give it a shot. And as you know, my dad died in the middle of the campaign last time, and so he didn't get to see me get elected. But I do believe that he is looking down and is proud. It's been a rough couple of years for me, so I'm just going to address that up at the top. After losing my dad, I lost my mom to a vehicular accident. Someone ran her over this January. So, but even though it's been the hardest 2-year period of my life, I have gone on to accomplish a lot, I think, for District 3. I'm very proud of my free spay and neuter service that I've been able to offer District 3 residents to help try and get in front of the rabid dog problem that we have in District 3. I've also created what I call Clean and Clear campaign, and it's a graffiti mitigation campaign where we take the recycled paint from our household pollutant center and redistribute it to any property owner that's a victim of graffiti. We give them paint, we give them rollers, brushes that have been donated from charitable organizations so that they don't have the cost of cleaning up after they've been a victim of a crime. Those are just 2 very small programs that are starting to take root and make a difference in the everyday lives of the people of District 3. When you ask what our biggest problem was, it was really hard to think about because there are many in District 3. For a lot of years, District 3 has kind of been the forgotten district. We're hard workers. They're not big complainers. We're not squeaky wheels. So often our needs were overlooked. We are the district that has the least amount of...
Patrick.
Okay. We have the least amount of transportation. We have the least amount of social resources, and we have the least amount of economic development in the city of Tulsa. What I think the biggest problem is, though, is that we lack hope. The residents of District 3 have forgotten how to dream big. and to see investment and see that somebody cares about them. So I would like to take the District 3 funds and leverage them with safety and with Route 66 Commission to refurbish Admiral Corridor from Lewis to the traffic circle, to really reinvigorate and prove to the neighbors of District 3 that they are cared about and that they deserve something good. And I think that would make a really big difference in the everyday lives of the people of District 3.
Give us your contact information, please.
I have Friends for Krista Patrick on Facebook. And my phone number is 918-810-3376. And my email is krista.c.patrick@gmail.com.
Thank you, Miss Patrick. It's so nice having you.
Thank you.
In Council District 4, there are 3 candidates. And the only one who has gotten, well, no, let me see. We have 2 candidates who have gotten back to us. Catherine Lyons. If we could hear from Miss Lyons next, please. Miss Lyons?
Chairwoman Gaddis, may I make a request?
Yes.
Can all the observers mute? We have some open microphones, and so what it's doing is feeding back, and it pulls the screen away from the speaker.
There was some dogs barking too when Krista was talking, and I messaged that person to mute themselves, but I don't know if they're at the computer.
Yeah. If there's somebody with controls over the meeting, they can mute any of the open microphones that aren't the speaker.
Okay.
Miss Ellis, I think you're one of them with the open mute, and I think Miss Harrison as well.
All right, is Miss Lyons with us tonight?
I don't see her.
Okay, then Kara Joy McKee, the incumbent in that district, is available. I know that she was here earlier.
Yes,
So
ma'am. I'm right here.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank you, Karen.
Yes, please, go right ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and potential colleagues and Tulsa neighbors, it's good to see you all tonight. Any chance I get to see other human faces is a delight right now. I think all of us are feeling a little wary, a little weary from all the months apart, and so it's really great to be here. I have enjoyed I've greatly enjoyed the last year and a half plus of being your city councilor for District 4. It's an impressively difficult job, but it's a new adventure every single day. I am fortunate, and it's a mixed blessing at times, that District 4, being downtown and a big chunk of Midtown, has more constituent contacts reaching out to the city councilor than any other district. Sometimes District 1 and I vie for that, but I have constituents every day reaching out to me on everything from duck birth control to fixing the roads on Cherry Street to police reform to the short-term rentals, Airbnbs, you name it, whatever topic is the hot topic, District 4 constituents are right there in it and making their voices heard. It's been one of my goals as counselor and will continue to be accessible to all of those voices, both myself personally and utilizing the council staff. I have an excellent council aide, Marissa Gomez, who's been working with me, trying to answer so many messages from constituents who are really concerned this year regarding COVID-19. Today we're hearing a lot about the Black Lives Matter mural in Greenwood, but every week there's something new. And I didn't plan to go into politics. For those of you who don't know me, I grew up in Norman. I planned to become a scientist. I studied anthropology and botany. I really like looking at the data and trying to find that right balance of head and heart. Understanding, okay, this is what the data says, and how does that connect to how people are feeling, and how we as individuals are living our lives. Throughout my career since college, opportunity after opportunity pulled me toward the possibility of becoming not only a policy advocate, but a policy maker. After 4 years at the Oklahoma Policy Institute, which is a nonpartisan, nonprofit think tank here in Oklahoma, where I taught constituents of state legislators how to connect directly with their state legislator, regardless of political affiliation. I started to feel like, okay, maybe I could do this job. Maybe I could run for office. And when my city councilor at that time, Blake Ewing, decided he wasn't going to run again, my heart leapt. I thought, this is it. I'm being called. It's time to give it a try and throw my hat in the ring for this extremely challenging job. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I have. I'm glad that City Council is nonpartisan. It does give us a real opportunity to collaborate across the aisle. And I have found working with my colleagues, while of all different stripes, has been challenging. It's also given us a really good opportunity to reach out to other levels of government at the state and federal level. I've built relationships, and I think we can build some trust as city councilors because we are a nonpartisan body. I have had so many interesting challenges come up this year, and expect that more will come regardless of the outcome of this election. But my plan, as always, is to be accessible and to be compassionate, and to make sure that constituents know that I am listening, and that I have the experience to know if I don't know what the answer to their question is, then I know how to find it. You can find more information about me at my website. It's kj4tulsa.com. That's the number 4. You can always call or text me, 918-845-9188. Or you can email me, kj@kj4tulsa.com. I'm open to any questions. And again, it's just really great to be here with you all tonight.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're so glad to have you. She is the incumbent in this position, and she has 3 other candidates against her. In Council District 5, we have a 5-way race in that district, and the first person we have from that district is it Mykey or Mykey Arthrell?
You had it right the first time.
Mykey, thank you so much.
Yeah. So I'm, just so you all know, I've been live streaming everything, so we have it recorded. I'm Mykey Arthrell. I guess I've become a perennial candidate. I never expected that to be true for myself. So I was born here in Tulsa, and over the past, I guess it's been about 16 years, and I've lived in Tulsa, grew up, left, moved to Washington State, lived in Austin, Texas. I worked for a lot of nonprofits. I worked for city government. I came back here because I wanted to raise my family. This is a place that's always been home. It's always felt so warm and inviting, and I love the people of Oklahoma and of Tulsa. I love the how people of all different types can get along. So here I am back at home. I have 2 daughters, a wife. I picked District 5 about 7 years ago. So what got me to run was not seeing anyone that represented me who was vying for office. I was actually a late candidate 2 years ago, and I felt like it was a last-minute candidate this year as well. This year it was the pandemic, it was Black Lives Matter. We have so much going on in Tulsa that's dividing the city of really amazing people who all have good hearts, that are all people who care so much about the same things, but just get divided because they feel so passionately about things. And a skill that I feel like I can bring to the position is the ability to listen to everyone and unify everybody. That's something that I've learned from my mom and dad. My dad also passed in November, and that was sudden and devastating as well. It's been a hard year for my family, so I feel for you, Krista. And basically, I'm well equipped for the crisis we have ahead. I currently am working with the housing authority. I've worked as a coordinator for shelters. I'm used to working with people in education. I'm actually working with Eugene Field and getting all the kids transferred to and from a redevelopment site in West Tulsa. I've worked for a health department, for 3 years. I know what it takes to have a pandemic response. I know, like, our greatest threat right now is going to be housing really soon. And I think that we can do a really good job. Like, this is a great opportunity of unifying housing authority, unifying the city, unifying developers. We can rehab the unlivable units that are here in District 5 and other districts. We can make those habitable. We can issue more vouchers. We have the longest wait list you can imagine to get vouchers in the city. But it takes a pandemic sometimes to really shake the stigma of subsidized housing. And I think we have an opportunity to do that right now. And so I think that's looking forward, that's what I can bring to the job. That's what Tulsa needs. My contact info is Mykey Arthrell for district5.city. You can also go to www.arthrell for district5.city to see my address. It's just Mykey Arthrell. I got 2 pages on Facebook. And my phone number is 918-508-3816, and I'm always available. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Arthrell. Thank you for being with us and being so patient.
Of course.
The next person we have in this same district, Council District 5, is Nat Wachowski-Estes. You nailed it.
My last name trips a lot of people up.
Oh, teachers get where they can pronounce just about any names.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and to talk with you all. I really appreciate the time. I know everyone's time is valuable. So my name is Nat Wachowski-Estes, and again, I'm running in District 5. I grew up in rural Missouri on a farm, getting up in the summers when I was a little older at 3 o'clock in the morning to build fence with my grandpa and then go to my second job at the family machine shop at 3 p.m. And work second shift there. So I know what it means to work hard. I'm a CPA. I've been in accounting for about a dozen years now. I've also been in Tulsa for about a dozen years now. My first job out of college brought me here. I've been in a Big Four firm. I've been in internal tax departments in a large corporation, and for a few years now, I've had my own firm. I left the corporate job to focus on what I love most, which is helping people realize their dreams. So I work a lot with individuals and families to create a doable household budget, and to create financial goals and an achievable plan to work toward that. And I work with several startup businesses, just little who have an idea and are ready to put in the sweat equity and just need a little guidance on the financial side. So that's been incredibly rewarding over the last few years. And I've seen how many creative, incredible people we have in our city who, with the right opportunity, are ready to add so much value to our restaurant industry, our small bookstores, all kinds of things. So I also, like KJ said, I also did not ever intend to go into politics. I followed politics for quite a while, but what really pushed me is I've had the privilege of working alongside leaders like Councilor Hall Harper, who are working very, very hard to rectify the racial disparities we have in policing in our city. I have been at city council meetings, seen those processes work, speaking during the public comment time, and I just realized it doesn't take someone special to run for public office, right? Like, we're all special in our own way, sure, but I can do that, right? This is for average people to get engaged, and I can have so much more of an impact if I'm on the inside rather than the outside. So that's why I'm running. And your letter asked for the biggest problem our district faces. That's really hard to boil down to one, but the through line of all of my priorities is equity. If we look around at the difference in life expectancy from zip code to zip code in our city, we can see that zip codes in North Tulsa, the average life expectancy is almost 16 years less than some other parts of our city. District 5 has an incredible amount of racial diversity. We have a lot of immigrants, and the problems we face are all centered on equity. We need to rectify those racial disparities, but we also have to focus on opportunities for safe and affordable housing. We have to make sure our kids are able to get to school and have the tools they need to learn. And we need access to mental health care. And I know that I don't have to have all those answers. I just have to know the right people to ask and collaborate with. So that's what I'm really excited about as a city councilor. And my contact information, my website is NAT for District 5, and that's the number 5.com. I'm going to type it in the chat box here, so if you miss taking notes, you can have it. And my email address is natfordistrict5@gmail.com, and then my phone number is 918-280-8147. Oh, thanks again for your time.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time tonight. Moving on to District 8, we have, just a second. There we go. That was my timer. I'm sorry. In District 8, we have two of the candidates who have scheduled to come speak to us tonight. Christian Bengal. Is Mr. Bengal here?
Yes, sorry, that's District 6, not 8.
Oh, 6. Well,
that's okay.
More.
That's okay, Karen.
Thank you, Mr. Bengal. It's nice to have you with us tonight. Please go right ahead.
Thank you for inviting me, Karen, and thank you to all of you who've joined to listen to me babble for the next 5 minutes. My contact information, I'll start out with that at the beginning. My website is www.bengal4tulsa, that's BENGEL for Tulsa, FOR. My Facebook is Christian Bengal for Tulsa, and my email address is christianbengal4council, all one word, @gmail.com. So I wrote down a list of the different areas that as I've been door knocking throughout my campaign. I had 5 issues that were at the top of the list specifically for my district. Now, of course, in each district, the problems can be the same or they can be diverse depending on which part of the city you live in. East Tulsa is a culturally diverse district, so we have a lot of different cultures here. This district is a candidate for an international community, and that's a great thing. But we need to figure out how to actually drive that so that it is effective and that it doesn't involve more cultures. My biggest number one issue is public safety. Unfortunately, we have the helicopter flying over our house a lot. Just in the part of town where I live in, part of town that I live in, around 31st and 129th East Avenue, is densely populated in this part of town. So we have a lot of crime. We have a lot of things that need to be addressed in that regard. So I have a couple of issues that I think might be helpful for neighbors to help solve some of those problems. One is the four-neighbor approach. We all know our neighbors, or one neighbor, but if we got to know at least four of our neighbors, right, the person across the street, both of the neighbors across the street, the one to the left and the one to the right of us, and we built a relationship with them, we could more easily prevent crime because we're watching out for each other as neighbors. We do have neighbors that are, very private and don't like to talk much, but we kind of have to pull people together to try and help our police department. The next one is light it up. So what I mean by that is most every house has a porch light. Criminals don't like light. So the more light we provide in our neighborhoods, the better we're going to be able to help each other to keep those, making our neighborhoods targets for those criminals. And last, we need to have more officers at times of opportune crime. So we need to look at when officers are on duty, graveyard shift being the one where there's the least amount of officers. We need to look at statistically where the highest crimes are and put more officers within those areas. Even in my own area, we have gunshots, on a constant basis. So that's definitely a problem.
I'm muted, so I'm going to talk real quick. I just really like this right here. It's at the core of where we're at, where Nat and I can get along, and that's how you do it. I like running with people who, such good people like Nat.
These businesses need to be looked at to whether they're legal within the city ordinances and also whether they're legal within health codes. And that has been brought up to me as one of the bigger issues within my community. The next is cultural involvement. We have so many cultures here, but I don't meet that many cultures. I go to the town hall meetings.
Bingo.
Can you hear me?
Yes, 1 minute.
1 minute? Okay, sorry. So, just a little bit about me real quick, since I'm running short on time now. I am a combat veteran. I'm a retired sheriff's reserve deputy here in Tulsa County. And my biggest issue in my district that I feel needs to be addressed is everyone having a voice, right? And having the different venues in which to get the message out to your constituents. And hopefully, if we're using those tools that are out there available to us, then we can get our message to everybody. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Bingle. We're so glad that you were able to join us today. Also in District 6, Connie Dodson, who is the incumbent city councilor. Ms. Dodson, if you're available, we'd like to hear from you, please.
I don't see her.
Okay, then we'll just move on to District 7 then, where we have all three candidates for that district seat. We'll start with Chad Ferguson. Mr. Ferguson, are you available?
I'm here.
Wonderful.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Any opportunity to speak to a group, especially this close to the election, is appreciated. I appreciate you guys taking this much time this late in the evening. So, who am I? I am a fourth generation Oklahoman. I personally didn't move here until I was 6, but my great-grandparents brought our family here way back and lived in Turley. So I grew up my whole life driving between Turley and Claremore, where my family now lives. I am a Tulsa through and through. I love Tulsa. I'm very proud of Tulsa. Tulsa has so many great things to offer. Tulsa's been cutting edge on so many things. I think lately, though, we've kind of lost our way. We've kind of got stuck in a few things. And based on how I was raised and some of the skills that I possess, I think I can help. I can't say that I'm going to solve all the problems, but I believe I can be a part of the solution. I've grown up with a servant's heart. I believe that everybody should serve at some capacity. I was unable to join the military, so this is my way of serving. I'm choosing to run for this office, and as everybody knows that's running or is currently served, this is a full-time job. This is a lot of work. You're putting a lot on the side so that you can help do what's important. But I'm a middle child, and so I've learned one of the greatest skills in life is knowing how to negotiate, and I've learned that skill. That skill has helped me get through school. I have a business degree from Rogers State, and I've been in sales most of my life. I have an entrepreneurial spirit and have done many things that have taught me, the importance of, pulling yourself up from your bootstraps. We did not have a lot of money growing up, so you learned how to deal with what you had. I've been in several different industries that have made Oklahoma what Oklahoma is. I have an oil and gas background. I have a manufacturing background. And for the past 12, 13 years, I have been in leadership and in insurance. I currently lead a sales team of about 21 individuals throughout the state. And our whole goal is to make sure the business owners and the individuals in our communities are set up in the best way they can be. My 22 plus years experience in business, I feel, is what is setting me up to be successful as a city councilor. With District 7 being one of the largest revenue generating districts in the city, I think we should demand a business professional be in that seat so that they can drive a business friendly environment and be talking about business oriented concepts. Tulsa's in a unique position right now where the governor, the lieutenant governor, and the secretary of commerce are all from the same city. They're from Tulsa. And I want to make sure Tulsa's working with those individuals to make sure that we're bringing the right jobs, recruiting the right companies. And by doing that and having more jobs available to our constituents, everybody wins. You have job choice, you can make more money.
Hey, Taylor.
Your economies in your life go up, and you have
I already
more
spoke.
choices.
This will be
My goal
posted
is
back
to,
up
1 minute,
afterwards.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes. So my goal is to help with that process.
They didn't
But
have a
let me give you my
recording
contact information.
device, so
I have a website,
I'm live streaming.
fergusonfortulsa.com. That's the number 4. My email is chadf@tedfordinsurance.com. And my phone number, and the fastest way to reach me, is my cell phone. It's 918-694-3677. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. We appreciate your time. The next candidate in District 7 is Justin Van Kirk. Mr. Van Kirk, are you available?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right. Please introduce yourself and let us know what you think.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for having me and for putting this together. As you just stated, my name is Justin Van Kirk, and I am also a candidate for City Council in District 7. I'll give you, for those that don't know me, briefly a little bit about my bio and why I'm running. I actually own a business in the district. My wife and I started that business roughly 7 years ago. We've been very blessed with that. It is something that we started from the ground up. So we feel like we have learned the ability of not only hard work,
All right.
but to
I got a date with my daughter, so I gotta go.
That's something
Hope everyone
to the benefit of everybody,
enjoyed
all the
this.
candidates